Welcome to the InfoGov Hot Seat Vodcast, featuring candid interviews with practitioners, consultants, and solution providers on hot topics in the information governance industry. Here's your host, Jim Merrifield.
The InfoGov Hot Seat. I'm your host, Jim Merrifield, and with me today is Geoff Zodda at PearlCare Search Group. Welcome, Geoff.
Hey, Jim. How are you doing today?
Awesome. Doing well. Glad you could take a few minutes with us on the hot seat, answer a few questions, get to know you a little bit. I know we've known each other for quite some time. So if you could please give the audience a brief introduction of your role, how long you've been with your current company, and one fun fact about yourself.
Awesome. And thank you for having me, Jim. It's a pleasure. And yes, we've known each other for a hot minute here. So I've been in the legal technology staffing industry since 2007, working extensively with global law firms, various sizes. Been at Pearl Search Group since 2016. And yeah, we have a great legal technology practice here that I run. So, it's a lot of fun, working in the business.
Yeah, you got tons of experience, and I told you, don't forget the fun fact, Geoff.
Oh, fun fact, yeah, almost forgot. Before I went into recruiting, I actually spent 3 years with the New Jersey, now Brooklyn Nets, in their basketball operations department as an intern, and got to do some pretty cool things with that. So,
that's
cool.
awesome.
That's fun.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So if you're a Nets fan, what's your football team?
Well, my football team for this year, unfortunately, it's the Giants. But
Okay.
Things are ticking up. But love the New York Giants.
Hey, you got that quarterback. You got. So that's cool. That's awesome. Now I'm a Jet fan, so I'm with you. I feel I'm probably in a worse scenario. So
I was just gonna say, listen, I love talking with Jets fans. It makes it a lot easier.
This year, hopefully next year we got something to talk about. But no, that's cool. Nets fan, Giants fan. That's pretty cool. So let's get right into this. Can you share some insights into the current hiring landscape and any notable trends? I know you have tons of experience and you're constantly watching the market, especially in the legal world. So what are you seeing?
Absolutely. I mean, the stark difference between 2022 and 2023 was pretty crazy. 2022 was the Great Resignation, where it was a very, very much a candidate-driven market. You had people flying off the shelves. Great candidates were on the market for about a week. They could find a job instantly. This year, it's become a longer process. The clients are really driving the process now in 2023, especially the latter half, where everything's become a bit longer. Candidates have to meet with more hiring managers, more stakeholders throughout the process. It's become, something where, candidates do have to become patient. And then also on the other hand, clients do have to understand if they do have a good candidate, you may not want to lose them either.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, there's the market, I'm sure, has changed, and there's been a lot of people, even in my network, moving around a bit, hopping from firm to firm.
Yeah.
So that's great. So speaking of candidates, is there any specific qualities or skills that you prioritize when evaluating potential candidates?
There's a few different things we look at, and it's not a fitted hat per se. It's definitely adjustable, but the days of candidates just getting by with their technical skills is over. None of our clients are going to hire someone just based upon, their on paper credentials. They're looking for someone that's analytical, someone that's thoughtful in their process, someone that could work across the organization, work with individuals, at all levels. I think that's a big thing that, has become very different is there's a ton of collaboration, especially since the pandemic. Everybody's working together within an organization. You could be on a Zoom with, a technology marketing group one day. the next day you're speaking with, analytics and intelligence. It's so different. And I think someone that, can communicate well, is really thoughtful, someone that does have technical skills that still obviously is very much in play, is all, boxes that, our clients want to check.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, technical skills these days are kind of a dime a dozen, right, in our industry. But I think the skills that set people apart are probably those soft skills, right? Like you mentioned,
Oh, yeah.
thoughtful, being able to communicate, being able to engage people at any level, right? You'd agree with that?
Oh, 100%. I think taking it another level, it's more about not what your answer is when you're speaking with people, it's how you got to that answer. What's your thought process? Yeah, we know that you might be able to, come up with a solution, but what steps did you take in order to find the solution? And I think that's
Hmm.
something that, during the interview process with a lot of our clients, they're digging into that a little bit more than they used to. I think that it's something where there is a lot of gray area, that is happening in interview processes. And we sort of like that. I like that sort of human element that goes into it.
Yeah, so you mentioned before remote work, right? There's a trend in, hiring and things. Has remote work, that whole trend impacted your approach to recruitment, company culture? Is everybody just asking to like work remotely 5 days, or are they, backing off a
It's
little bit?
it's been a phenomenon. I mean, the remote work culture has spread through the legal industry, as you know. One thing I will say is not all candidates are asking for the remote work. I think a lot of people do want to get out of their houses and get into an office a few days a week. Now, not everybody wants to go in 5 days a week, depending upon traffic and commuting and how much time it takes to get in. But a lot of people do want that face-to-face interaction, the chance to get lunch with someone on their team. And some people still do want remote because it does take a long time to get into the office, or someone in Iowa can work for a firm that's based out of New York potentially, and they get that skill set from someone that's from Iowa per se.
Yeah, no, that makes a ton of sense. I mean, I think there is definitely value, right? Uh, Being in the office a few days a week, being able to have those interactive conversations face to face instead of like what we're doing here, right? Virtually every day. It's like death by Zoom or Teams. uh,
And they call it Zoom
so,
fatigue. Zoom fatigue.
yeah, yep, I like it. Yep, Zoom fatigue. So let's talk about job seekers. What advice do you have for job seekers looking to stand out in a competitive market? How can you set yourself apart?
Yeah, I would say that before anyone applies to a position on LinkedIn through a company, I'm not advocating for companies not to post on LinkedIn. You want to see who you know at that organization. I think that's a huge thing that people don't spend enough time. Utilize the network that you built over the past several years. See if maybe even the hiring manager you may know, or a peer of the hiring manager. And if you do that, that's an easy into the organization. They'll know your credentials, some things that a resume may not even have on it. So I think that that's certainly something that you could touch upon. Then also, if you don't know someone at the organization, see what agency, I mean, it always helps to know a good, recruiting agency out there. But if you could find the agency that's working on a particular role where your skill sets might be a fit, they may have a connection to the CIO or the head of HR or talent, where they can make a direct introduction where you're not thrown into a bucket of thousands of candidates. You're put to the top of the list. So I think that you want to do that before applying. That's a big, point of advice that, I tell my candidates. I even say, if I'm not working on a specific role, you know, I can definitely maybe point you in the right direction with someone that is hiring for the position and, introduce you to. So I think it's always good to know someone in the firm. It makes the process a lot easier.
Yeah, it's all about relationships, right? No matter if you're
Absolutely.
looking for a job, you're looking to, fix a project, right? You're dealing with a project in your firm or your company. It's still all about relationships, who you
Oh,
know. And
yeah,
LinkedIn you mentioned is an unbelievable tool, right?
absolutely. Sometimes it never changes, right? It's who you know,
Yeah.
where you know.
For sure. I think most of our conversations are on LinkedIn. It's just easier to hit a message. Everybody's usually on LinkedIn
Love
and
LinkedIn.
things like that.
Love LinkedIn.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely.
That's awesome. So let's talk about industries. I know you're focused on legal, but are there any specific industries or skills that you foresee being in high demand in the near future? I'm sure something has to do with like AI. Just a
I was
hunch.
going a little bit of a different direction here, just because we're on a governance podcast. I would say
Sure.
that, yeah, hey, listen, I'm going to hit you with this. So, obviously, a lot of law firms are moving to the cloud. So, with that comes the challenges of governance within the cloud. So, I've seen recently that there's a huge pickup of finding people with the governance plus the ability to do it within a cloud environment. So, the M365 environment, huge. The Azure, being able to deal with privacy within an Azure environment, big time. There's a lot of things that connect to the cloud where, the ISO requirements aren't going to be good enough soon enough. There's going to be more specific ones that have to do with cloud technologies and making sure that you have that certification, with the cloud technologies that you're using. So that's one thing. I think another thing that we're seeing out there a lot is low code, no code development. It's a pretty cool area, but I think, again, Microsoft came up with, a great, stack that they're using with Power Apps, Power Automate that help the developers within an organization do a lot of, quick development, dashboards, sites for the partners at a firm at a rapid speed where, in the past it had been, could take a couple months to put together, these big presentations. With low code, no code, you're able to do it pretty efficiently. And then one thing else I wanted to mention, which I think is another huge trend, is the cybersecurity realm. Can't say it enough, but cloud plus cybersecurity, that's going to continue to grow, and that's a trend that, we're going to continue to see the increase in that, through the next, half decade or so. I don't see it stopping anytime soon.
No, nor do I. And there's plenty of education. I think Microsoft. I was away the last couple of weeks, but looking at Microsoft and even LinkedIn Learning, I mean, they have so much education on there. Most of it's free, right? To take advantage of these, dive into Compliance Center and understanding O365. I know too, ARMA has some certification courses around that as well, and ILTA has some training. So I mean, there's a plethora of education and training. It's really at our fingertips, right? There's really no excuses anymore. It's pretty cost effective, and I think the hardest part for us as IG professionals is finding the time, right? And for our professional development and continuing to progress, because if we don't, I think this, right, as you stated, this industry is just going to leave us behind.
It's never
Gone
changed.
are the days of gone are the days of managing just boxes. I mean, that's just like, forget it. And even file shares, right? It was like, all right, clean up file shares, but those things are just, those are gone.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, with the emergence of so many different DMSs and, the cloud sharing, I mean, the possibilities are endless. It's such an exciting industry to be in, because if you're standing like, pat, you're falling behind. You definitely need to continue to be aggressive in your continuing education. And even if you have a couple minutes here or there, just showing that you're continuing to progress in your career, by just getting a quick certification or just showing that you care about what you do, and you make it a career, not a job. And I think that's the difference, between this industry and others. It's a career for a lot of people, not just a job and a paycheck.
Yeah, and it's fun. I mean, listen,
It's fun.
it's a fun industry. Yeah, I mean, it's changing. You got privacy, you got security. I mean, AI. I mean, I'm playing with AI tools, all the time. I mean, it's just. I mean, my brain's getting a little racked, trying to understand. Like, okay, I put this data into the AI tool. What does this tool do with this, this data once it spits it back to me? So that it's kind of a fine balance, and I think that's definitely where firms and even our clients, right, corporations, or even basically the whole world's trying to figure out, okay, how can I use AI to get a competitive advantage generally.
Yeah, we saw a firm this week announce that they are implementing the whole Thomson Reuters AI suite into their knowledge management. I mean, so that just shows that it's going to happen. You just want to stick with it, stick with the trends, and be on top of your game always.
Yeah. I mean, Microsoft's got its Copilot. That's coming out. I mean, who doesn't use Microsoft, right? And I think by default, you get Copilot, and it's up to the IT folks to turn it on or not. So the IG professionals are going to have to work together with IT to figure out how to govern that content and have permissions and all that good stuff. So no, I think you hit on so many topics, Geoff. I mean, it's definitely a bright future for us as IG professionals. It's continuing to grow. I think you're going to stay super busy, right? As a search firm. Yeah. So, I mean, we asked a lot of questions to you today, Geoff, but one last one just to leave the audience with. Do you have any final thoughts, anything you want to share that I didn't ask you with the audience?
I think a good sort of ending to this are individuals that are like hot on the job hunt, and individuals that haven't found, their next home yet. I just want to say that, just continue being, persistent, keep looking out, keep trying to find your next opportunity. It will happen, and, 2024 is here. So it's a chance for new opportunities. A new year's coming. So, just keep at it. When the chips are down, you never know when that next opportunity is going to come.
Yeah, for sure. When in doubt, I know Geoff is always available. He's a friend. He's a member of a search firm, but he's also a great guy to bounce some ideas off of. So, thanks so much for sharing your experience. I know you got a lot of it, and spending some time today on the hot seat.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for having me, Jim.
No, that's great. And thank you, everyone, for attending today's episode of the InfoGov Hot Seat. Of course, please visit our website, InfoGov, to view our latest episodes. If you'd like to be a guest on the hot seat like Geoff here, all you got to do is submit your information through our website. We'll get you on the schedule. And thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the InfoGov Hot Seat. Follow us on Spotify, YouTube, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and LinkedIn. Check out our main website at InfoGovHotSeat.com to view our latest episodes and much more.